Let's discuss this further now with Colin Alexander, who is a senior lecturer in political communications at Nottingham Trent University, and he specializes in political propaganda and diplomacy. It's a pleasure speaking to you, sir, today on the program. First off, just give us some insight into how effective it is for certain governments to use propaganda as a tool of war.
Well, I think that all governments use propaganda across the board, but particularly in warfare where the stakes become higher. Propaganda, I would go so far as to say, is fundamental to conflict. And this is from, on the one side, ensuring that populations are on message or on board with what's happening. But on the other side, looking at the combatants themselves, most combatants don't really fight on kind of broader ideological terms. This is all about storytelling and the stories that they are told and that provide rationale for engaging in militant behaviour of whatever kind. So ultimately, for me, propaganda is not just an element of warfare; it is the fundamental backdrop through which warfare is facilitated and continues.
Wow. We saw the fallout that India's ruling BJP had with Twitter recently after they blocked certain content on Twitter critical of them. How important do you think it is for companies like Twitter to take action in regards to this subject?
Well, there is a debate here. Is Twitter and other social media, are they just platforms which facilitate debate and discussion, whether that's truth or falsehood? Or do these organisations that undoubtedly have a considerable amount of social power and economic power, do they have a responsibility to vet and ultimately to censor their content or the content that's on their site? Where does that responsibility lie? Now, certainly, I would say that when it comes to these social media sites, they tend to be more responsive when an organisation or an individual with a page or a handle has more followers. So, if you've got sort of 5, 6, 10 million followers, then you're perhaps seen as more of a target for, or there's more scrutiny around you. If you've got 200 followers, you can, perhaps Twitter's battles lie elsewhere.
Right. So clearly these platforms carry great responsibility when it comes to spreading propaganda from various countries.
Yeah, well, it is one vehicle through which propaganda can be spread. I think that's the way to see it. The propagandist themselves doesn't really care. The propagandist uses whatever technology is available to them at a given time. So if you go back to the 1920s, 1930s, in the kind of early stages of the infancy of radio, the various political propagandists of that era, whether it's the Soviet Union or the Germans, the Italians, they all utilize the technology. They're not kind of prejudiced against that. Whatever technology is available is evaluated for its capacities to manipulate and to influence.
Right. Okay. Colin Alexander, it was a pleasure speaking to you here today on TRT World. Thank you so much for joining us.